Right, Emily. Her quote was, "I have black children. I am a woman of color. If I would have lost my life, would you guys have done this for me?" And I think that she makes a very key point here, that we in the media selectively pick victims. I don't want.
Check out this video that I'm about to show you. It's of this young lady confronting BLM and the media about this incident that happened where this gunman shot through her apartment, almost killing her and her children. The police shot and killed this guy, yet BLM came to protest the guy's death. But this was a different situation where it was warranted. It seemed to have been necessary. This young lady, she's confronting BLM protesters and the media. So check this out, and I would like to share my thoughts about it.
You're alive! Shut up!
You guys need to just let it go! Grief in silence! This is not okay! This is not a George Floyd situation. George Floyd was unarmed! He was unarmed!
You're alive! Sorry.
This is not okay! My kids have to deal with this and probably have a mental illness now because they almost lost their life. There's bullet holes in my kitchen because he sat in the hallway watching my move.
This family wishes this never happened.
I wish it never happened either. I don't have a place to call home. I can't sleep that night.
She's obviously going through a moment.
This is not okay.
This is what they want to show on the TV. She's obviously going through a moment.
This is not okay. Just go home. Go home. Because none of you guys knocked on that man's door to check his health.
Shut up! He come to my house. Shut up! You're
No, you guys did not come. He did not. You guys did not come and visit that man. This is not the time or the place. It wasn't. It don't matter. It don't matter. Get away from me. Get away. No, because you think it's okay to get in my kid's in the car. My kid's in the car. My black kid is in the car. He killed me. He tried to kill me in front of my kids. He tried to kill me in front of my kids. He tried.
First of all, this whole situation is devastating, and it just lets you know what's going on in our country and in our world. I was very moved by this because I am someone who has a brother who was killed by the police, and I truly believe that it wasn't necessary. I would have wanted support from a movement or something. I didn't want them to sensationalize this case. This case is still pending, but I believe that God is the ultimate judge. God is going to intervene, and God is going to give my family vengeance. In this case, where there's this black man who was killed, there are times when there's violent situations, there's black men that are getting killed unnecessarily, like, for example, the case with my brother. But this whole thing is getting out of hand. This whole thing is sounding like some sort of agenda. As you can see, they heckled her. They wanted to silence her. She kept saying that it's not okay, but they were acting as if it was okay and that they should still protest this guy's death. He was a murderer. He tried to kill her and her children, and it was very intentional. That is not a case that should be protested. Me being a woman of color, me being a person who has lost a brother due to police violence and criminal injustice, I still don't agree with the Black Lives Matter movement. What I do agree with is when there is injustice, there should be some support. When I heard of the Black Lives Matter movement, initially I was thinking that it was a great thing because of the injustice that the Black community deals with and experiences. Black Lives Matter has almost made it okay for criminals and murderers to not be criminalized and not be penalized. There's always a consequence that goes with your actions if you are doing something that's unlawful, and you're not exempt based off the color of your skin. Now, it is a fact that Black people goes through a lot of injustice. There's a lot of racism that does exist. There are a lot of systems that has been put in place for a Black person to not really advance. I truly believe that. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been a thing called race. What they're doing is not okay. And you're hearing it from a woman of color, and you're hearing it from somebody who has a brother who was killed by the police. If I'm saying that, then it's definitely must be true. This young lady, I commend her. That took bravery. She definitely deserves to be commended. The fact that she stood up to the BLM movement. Everything about the BLM movement has never really been to support the Black lives or the victims. It's been about self-fulfillment. It's been an agenda about dismantling the family structure and all these things that was put in place in their mission statement. There is a level of injustice that's going on in the Black community. I've experienced it firsthand. It does seem like Black lives are less valuable than the other lives. Everything about society has shown us that throughout the years. There are Black people who have rose to success, rose to a level of power, and that's commendable. But there's still an agenda to sensationalize the Black struggle, sensationalize the pain. A lot of times the value of the Black life is more about their performance. For example, when it comes to athletes, when it comes to artists, all they care about is them performing. They don't care about really necessarily them as an individual. They just want the athlete to just perform. They want the artist to perform. They don't care about them as an individual. The interesting thing is that a lot of Black people are not in agreement with the BLM movement, the BLM organization, because BLM is really different than saying the statement Black Lives Matter. Now, I do believe that the statement should have been Black Lives Matter too, TOO. People started to be defensive and say all lives matter. Here's the thing, it's already understood that all lives matter, but that's why people were saying our lives matter as well. It's more like as well, or like our lives matter too. And that's where it came from. But the organization has taken another form, and it hasn't been about supporting Black lives. It hasn't been about supporting the victims of these unjust crimes. And it's been very contrived. It's been more so the focus on the criminals and protesting for the criminals. And I'm just curious about who those people were that were heckling this young lady, because these people were not Black. It doesn't mean that you have to be Black in order to support Black lives. I'm just curious as to know who those people are. It seems like the Black Lives Matter organization is being controlled by something else. And it's no longer about the Black lives. It's more about sensationalizing the Black lives, or capitalizing off of the Black lives and the blood of those who were slaughtered. That's what it seems like to me. It just doesn't seem like they care about Black lives. Going back to what I was saying about the name Black Lives Matter, we're saying that ultimately because we want to matter. We don't feel like we matter. I believe the slogan or the statement Black Lives Matter, it's a good thing, because when you check history, the life of the Blacks was not mattering. And that's factual based off of history. Things have changed a little. However, what people don't understand is that it's taken on another form. And unfortunately, because we have people like the Black Lives Organization shifting their focus on other things and the wrong thing, it makes it hard for the message to go across. And then you have people who want to support the movement, whether they are non-Blacks or not. There's people who want to support the movement, but because they see the level of dysfunction, they see the lies, the deception, it makes them not want to support the Black Lives Matter movement. There's a difference between the Black Lives Matter organization versus the Black Lives Matter movement and what that means. I think it should be Black Lives Matter too. Based off history, Black lives has not mattered. The scripture that I want to leave you with is Isaiah 5:20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet bitter. This is the ways of the world. Based off of that, it just shows you that this is the signs of the times. We're living in a time where good is evil and evil is good. We have to stick with God's plan, God's path for our life, because if not, we can easily get caught up into the dysfunction and the deception. In the video, you can see how the media was out there and BLM was out there, but it's hard to tell who was BLM and it's hard to tell who was the media. You can hear people saying, shut up, now is not the time, and really trying to intimidate her into shutting her mouth. But I believe that God wanted her to say what she said. BLM has to be held accountable. These people don't really care about Black lives, because when Black people are shooting each other, they're not there to protest against that. Or when the majority of Black women are statistically the ones who are getting abortions and killing their Black boys and Black girls, that's not being protested. So do we really care about Black lives? That's the question. Yet they were outside protesting for a young man who was trying to kill people and children, and it's just crazy. I just pray that this young lady finds peace, her and her children. I pray that the things that she said spoke volume, and I pray that what she said resonated with people and causes some sort of change. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a blessed day.